Hey everybody, it's Chris from Crypto Team. Well, did you know on March 9th, 2022, President Biden signed an executive order on digital assets? Well, how does this affect you? And what exactly is in this executive order? Today, we'll talk about it and we'll find out how this affects you as a cryptocurrency investor. Stay tuned. Hey, once again, it's Chris from Crypto Team. And like I said, on March 9th, President Biden signed an executive order that talked about digital assets. Let me go ahead and pull this up because I believe that in order for you all to be great cryptocurrency investors, you need to know where the market's going. You need to know where the government is going to see if they're going to regulate this industry, they're going to destroy this industry. Is it even worth our time staying in this industry? So you need to know what the government is thinking. And one way to know that is to look at the reports that are released from the government, some of the studies, and to also look at their executive order. So, like I said, on March 9th, President Biden signed an executive order. This order was called the Executive Order on Ensuring Responsible Development of Digital Assets. So if you go to WhiteHouse.gov, you will actually be able to read this order for yourself. But what I'm going to do is go through this so that you don't have to read it. So I'll go ahead and fill in the gaps so that you don't have to read it. I'll do the homework for you. Okay. So in this executive order, there were 3 points that Biden was hitting on, and or 7 points that Biden was hitting on. The first point is to protect U.S. consumers, investors, and businesses. The second one was to protect U.S. and global financial stability and mitigate systematic risks. We have mitigate the illicit finance and national security risk posed by the illicit use of digital assets. Number four, promote U.S. leadership in technology and economic competitiveness to reinforce U.S. leadership in the global financial system. Five was to promote equitable access to safe and affordable finance services. Six was to support technological advances and ensure responsible development and use of digital assets. And number seven was to explore a U.S. central bank digital currency called the CBDC. Now, first of all, you may be asking, why does the US government care and why are they trying to regulate the financial industry or regulate the cryptocurrency industry? Well, if you go to Google and you type in, well, how many cryptocurrencies out there? You see that there's 18,000 cryptocurrencies out there. That means that this industry is ripe for fraud. And not only are there 18,000 cryptocurrencies out there, we see that the market cap has surpassed the 3 trillion, not billion, $3 trillion mark. So what that means is when there's a lot of money out there and there's a lot of liquidity out there, you're gonna have a lot of scammers. So what this executive order does is try to protect the consumer from scammers. And like I said, I believe that there are probably about 90% of those 18,000 cryptocurrency coins out there are scams. I know in my video, or if you go through this TV or through our YouTube channel, you'll actually see the video that I created about how you can research and determine if a cryptocurrency is a scam. I know that some people have been watching part one. Part one talked about the three types of scams in cryptocurrencies and how they work. Part two of that video actually talks about 10 different items that you need to go and research for every coin so that you can determine if it's a scam. Because our goal here at Crypto Team, our goal here is to make sure that you all are not becoming victims to scams. Because, like I said, it's $3 trillion out there. So when there's $3 trillion out there, people are going to do what they need to do or what they want to do to take the money out of your hands. So our goal is to make sure that that doesn't happen. Let's go back to the executive order. So the first point that we talked about in the executive order is to protect the U.S. consumers, investors, and businesses. And just like I said, This executive order is to make sure that we have the regulations in place to protect our investors, to protect the consumers. There's too much money out there. People are going to come after your money. So that's what he's going to do here. He's going to direct the Department of the Treasury and other agencies to develop policies and actually give recommendations to protect you all, which is the consumers, and protect businesses. So that's a good point in this executive order. Number two, protect the U.S. and global financial stability and mitigate systematic risk. As we talked about before in my other video about centralized bank versus decentralized bank, the United States is on this SWIFT protocol. And basically, he wants to make sure that these digital coins or these digital assets, these cryptocurrencies, won't crash our financial system. So he's going to have reports put out to make sure that as a whole, the United States is protected and it doesn't crash or hurt the our current financial industries. Also, they're probably going to look for regulatory gaps. I believe that's one of the last lines here. Try to address any regulatory gaps that occur now so that they can protect, once again, the consumer, the investors, and the businesses. The number three is to mitigate the illicit finance and national security risk posed by illicit use of digital assets. As with anything, when there's that much money out there, it's going to be criminals. So what they're trying to do here is to figure out ways to mitigate the use of digital assets for criminal activities, for drugs, for human trafficking. You think about it. You see all these NFTs going for millions of dollars. Some of that could be money laundering. So what they're trying to do is figure out ways to actually mitigate that, and also to catch the people who would use cryptocurrencies as a way to funnel or to fund their illicit activities. Yeah, I remember back in the day they had these little they were they were similar to store cards that you can buy, and anybody could put money on these little cards, and they would and apparently those cards are being used by drug dealers and things, so they went ahead and banned this. So now you have to get one of those Visa business cards or whatever over a certain amount. You have to provide your doggone license and all that. So they were tracking people. So what what this executive order is to figure out ways basically to track people and to try to mitigate the use of digital coins or cryptocurrencies to funnel or to fund illegal activity. Number four is to promote the U.S. leadership in technology and economic competitiveness to reinforce U.S. leadership in in the global financial system. And this one here is very important because people always say, well, the government's trying to regulate this and they're going to shut it down. This right here is tells you that they're not. If the government or if Biden says he wants to promote US leadership in the crypto space, that means I'm not going to shut it down. So that means you guys are safe with buying certain proven, once again, certain proven cryptocurrency. You guys are safe. So it's not like he's going to shut down Bitcoin like some countries have. They're regulating coins and dropping, and it's making the price of Bitcoin and things go down. But here, if Biden's saying no, we not only want to promote you the or ensure that the U.S. consumer has um, a stake in cryptocurrency, but they want to make sure that we lead in that area. That means that he's not going to go in with the mindset of shutting down Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. So this is very important. So take note of this. This is very important. So when people say, "Oh, don't get into cryptocurrencies. It's just a scam," this bullet point stares in the face of that. Okay. Next, we have promote equitable access to safe and affordable financial services. So what this means is they want to make sure that digital assets or cryptocurrencies, digital assets in general, are actually accessible to all communities. And as we know, back in the 60s and 70s, you had financial institutions that enforced segregation, that enforced discrimination. So you had banks who wouldn't loan to blacks, who wouldn't loan to people of color, and that enforced or created redlining and other things where you have a whole black neighborhood or and a whole white neighborhood, they basically they enforce uh, discrimination. So what Biden wants to make sure in this particular executive order point, he wants to make sure that all communities are able to access cryptocurrencies, unlike how blacks weren't able to access loans and other financial instruments that help all communities grow in the 60s and 70s. Okay. The next point, bullet point, which is number 6, is to support technological advances and ensure responsible development and use of digital assets. So once again, this one here, it basically tells the government to set up a study to figure out ways to support digital assets, to support the construction of cryptocurrencies or the building blocks of cryptocurrencies, but to support it in a responsible manner. I know that lots of times you have when you do a Bitcoin transaction, you have a transaction on the digital ledger, then there has to be proof of work. And proof of work takes computers doing a lot of crunching. And all this number crunching uses up resources. So now you're creating a problem when it comes down to an environmental risk, when it comes down to digital coins and digital assets, because they're using up electricity and things of that nature, that and that hurts the environment. So what they want to do here is to support technological advances, but also make sure that these advances are responsible. So how can maybe we can do some type of proof of work where it doesn't use such a number crunching and it doesn't hurt the environment. They got to look into it. So this is a good way to create a study to review that. The final step, which is number 7, is to explore a U.S. central bank digital currency, CBDC. And I don't know too much about the CBDC, but what they want to do is they want the US government to do a study on what would happen if there was a United States central bank digital currency. And I do think that, as with anything, you have the current system, but I think that when something new comes in the market, eventually things are going to blend together. So they may have this U.S. central bank digital currency. They may have that eventually. So what he's going to do is look at and see how, if they actually develop this, how will that affect our current market? How would that affect our current financial system? How will that affect how the government is run now? So this is very, very interesting. It also uh, is I believe in this last line they talk about prioritizing the U.S. participation in multi-country experimentation. So this may be some type of international call to see what happens if they do this. And I know people, once again, people say, oh, cryptocurrencies won't last. But you see, you have cities like Miami coming out with what was it, a Miami coin or some nature? And you have other states and other cities coming out with their own coins. So how will that affect the digital, our current financial system? How will that affect that? So that needs to be studied. So this last point goes into that. Now, like I said, you all need to sit down, know what's going on from a financial regulatory system to determine how you want to use or how you want to invest in cryptocurrency. For example, one good thing or one interesting thing is here they talk about on the third point how to mitigate illicit financial and national security risks posed by the illicit use of digital assets. Well, as you all know, as some of you all know, Bitcoin in itself is put on a ledger. And like I said, everything is tracked. Every transaction is tracked. So they actually came out with something called privacy coins. And these privacy coins were trying to make sure that your transactions were actually going to stay anonymous. So if the president put in here, okay, I want to mitigate or try to cut out any type of illicit activity using crypto coin, the first thing I would think about is maybe I should invest in these privacy coins because they're going to come after the privacy coins. Some of the privacy coins are, you have the Oasis Network Rose, you have Secret, you have Decred. There's a coin called Monera. I think one of the biggest privacy coins, and this was a coin, like I said, invented to make sure that those transactions are private, is Zcash. So if you're putting your money in these coins or you're invested in these coins and you get this executive order and you're like, wait a minute now, they may be trying to figure out ways to crack down on illicit activity, and these coins are were created for privacy. Maybe I don't want to be in that space. So it make you think twice about investing in those coins. So my point is, use these executive orders, use the current regulations that are out there to figure out, to help navigate what cryptocurrencies you want to buy and how long you want to stay in a particular market. Use that to your advantage, and hopefully that will help you in the future. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys watching my videos. Please like and subscribe to the videos. Put some comments in the video letting me know what you guys want us to talk about. We will sit here and we will do the research. It's like we did here. We'll do the research and report back what we know about any particular topic. Just drop in the comments what you want us to talk about, and we'll go ahead and do that. Once again, this is Chris from Crypto Team. Thank you. Thank you again. Please like and subscribe. Have a good one.